your name?
My name is Elizabeth Wheat.
And where are you from?
I am from Marshall, Michigan.
And when did you first get involved with UN?
I started competing with the team in, I think it was 2000, my sophomore year at Alma, and just signed up as a class. I'd heard it was a pretty fun thing to do, a lot of work, and it certainly lived up to that. But I ended up competing for the 3 years at Alma and really got a lot of the experience and had a good time. Would highly recommend it.
What kind of things did you do when you were on the team?
I mostly focused on human rights issues, particularly refugees and some of the conflicts that were going on in Africa at the time. But my last year was our first Asian country, and so we represented the Philippines, and so it was a good chance to expand my research into some of the environmental areas in Southeast Asia.
And how did you continue your UN after Alma?
After competing on the team, I still really wanted to be a part of the Model UN experience, and so I joined staff and was one of the first Alma students to be on staff in quite some time, and stayed on staff for 3 different conferences for about 4 years, and then as of last year went along with the team as sort of a faculty advisor, and I'll be doing that again this year. So this will be my 10th Model UN, and I'm pretty excited.
What's your favorite part of being on staff at UN?
Being on staff, it was interesting to kind of see the process and what goes into making the entire conference work. That you get the research guides at the beginning of the semester, but I'd never really seen all the work that goes into making those. And so my first year on staff, getting a sense of just how much time those take. But it was just interesting to see how the experience works on the committee side as well. And I was an assistant director for 1 year, and then actually had my own committee for 3 years after that. So I think it helped, now that I'm a teacher, really helped to sort of learn how to break down that kind of information, but just to sort of expand my research skills, but also just have a good time and see a different side of the conference than I had been able to as a delegate.
What were the biggest changes that you saw coming back as a faculty advisor position from being a student?
I think one of the best changes and one of the biggest changes was how much more student-run it is now, and sort of the leadership positions that are created. And we had a smaller team when I was a delegate, and so there weren't as many people to divide the workload with, but everything from the research to how you prepare with speeches and everything is now much more student driven. And rather than Dr. Holm doing some of the teaching content during the class, we now have students doing that. And so students are able to become experts in different areas, and we didn't run the team like that. And I think it's nice to have that kind of student experience and the research abilities that they have now, that are a big step forward from what we had when I was on the team. So it's a lot more student driven, and it's just kind of cool to see.
What's your favorite UN story or favorite experience that you've had?
It's a tough call. I think I probably would go with my first year on the team. It happened to be Earth Day at the UN, and on the last day of the competition, we actually are at the UN headquarters in New York. And my first year, Secretary General Kofi Annan was speaking. And we wanted to go up and get his autograph, and he looked at my badge, and we were representing Ethiopia that year, which is a very important country for him. And so he looked at my badge and asked what I was doing in New York and what I thought about Ethiopia. And it was just kind of neat to meet one of the most important people in the international community my first year, and to have a chat with him about this fictitious situation and the simulation that we did with Model UN. And so it's kind of cool to meet him and get a good experience.
If you were talking to a first year who was contemplating doing UN, what would you say were the benefits of doing UN?
I think there are a lot of benefits as you're going through the process, not only in terms of being more comfortable with speaking and learning how to do challenging research, but far beyond Model UN. That again, I now teach, and so I think it prepared me well for that, prepared me for working with students, and just the value of a simulation, that you learn so much about the content, but you also learn about just a lot of the practical skills that traditional classes don't teach you, and about issues that most classes don't cover. And so I think you get a lot out of the experience as you're going through it, but it's the kind of thing that it really will benefit you in the long term as well. And it led me to joining staff, and now some of my closest friends and some of the best professional contacts are from that staff experience. And so signing up for a class at Alma my sophomore year has really led to a lot of great things down the road.
Okay, thank you.